Example of a concentric contraction, all right, it's when the muscle shortens. Okay, so if I have a weight in my hand that is lighter than the muscle's capability of doing work, then I'm going to be able to use my muscle to pull the load or to move the weight. So you'll see that these pieces of tape here actually resemble the bicep muscle. So the bicep muscle has two heads, which that's why it's called bicep. So it has two heads. So basically kind of has two muscles that represent the bicep. So right now it's at a lengthened position, but not all the way lengthened. And so the bicep muscle is actually it's the origin is up here at the shoulder, and the insertion is down below the elbow. So it's going to contract and shorten, and it's actually going to pull the forearm. It's going to pull the forearm up so that it flexes the elbow and then lifts the weight. So when it is asked to move and contract, it's going to shorten. It's almost like a pulley system, right? And it has a lever system we talked about or we're going over right now, but it's like a pulley. So once the brain tells the bicep to move or contract, it's going to pull on the insertion, because the origin's here, the insertion is past the elbow or crosses the elbow, and it's going to actually pull up on the forearm to contract. So it's going to contract and shorten. Now, this muscle here, these three pieces of tape represent the tricep. So when this muscle contracts, shortens concentrically, this muscle here, the tricep, has to lengthen or it has to stretch. The only way for this to work, where the bicep concentrically contracts and pulls the forearm up to lift the load, is for this tricep to stretch or eccentrically contract. So if I have this ball and I want to lift it, this muscle here, the bicep, has to concentrically contract, and if the muscle is stronger than the load or has a capability of carrying the load and the load is light enough, this muscle is going to concentrically contract and it's going to be able to shorten. So I flex my elbow, and the tricep obviously stretches out and is allowed to, it helps the muscle, the bicep, to concentrically contract. Now, the bicep muscle has two heads. It originates on the scapula. Here's the scapula's here, the humerus is here, and the ulna and radius are here. So it starts on the scapula, crosses the shoulder joint, transitions all the way down the humerus, crosses the elbow joint, and then attaches to. Now, if I flex my elbow to concentrically contract the bicep and the tricep stretches out, because it crosses the shoulder also, actually shoulder movement will create more concentric contraction of the bicep. And you'll actually see this tape here, you'll actually see it fold even more as I come up. So this is kind of neutral. You'll see the tape fold, meaning it shortens. So you see the fold here, and you even see it fold there. You're not going to see it fold at the shoulder because the shoulder hasn't really moved yet. But you'll see it fold at the elbow because it's flexing the elbow. So you'll see it fold because it's shortening there. Now, as I flex my shoulder now, this is elbow flexion. Now this is going to be flexion of the shoulder. As I flex my shoulder, because it's crossing the shoulder joint, you'll see this fold too. So you'll see a fold there, right, also. So this is more shortening of the shoulder. Now, as I continue to go up, it might even fold a little bit more because this is more shoulder flexion. as it's crossing two joints, this bicep muscle. So this would be actually the muscle doing work at the elbow and at the shoulder as it concentrically contracts. Now the eccentric contraction, it's going to stretch the muscle here with elbow flexion because the tricep has to eccentrically contract, it has to lengthen. So you'll see more of a stretch. So it's folded here, but this is tricep shortening. Now if I flex my elbow, you'll see more of a stretch, and you might even see it stretch here as I come up. And I almost feel like it wants to come off the arm. Okay, so this is even more of a stretch of the tricep. The tricep has, it has three heads or three components to it for the tricep. So this would be considered an eccentric contraction of the tricep as the bicep concentrically contracts. So the tricep muscle is on the back. So if the tricep muscle concentrically contracts, the tricep is actually going to help extend the elbow. As it concentrically contracts, it extends the elbow, and it also provides extension of the shoulder too. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but you might even see some folds here on the tricep. And as I go back more, you might even see it fold more at the shoulder, which means it's not on stretch right now. Right? It's not on stretch. It's actually concentrically contracting. So it's using the pulley system to extend the elbow and then also extend the shoulder. Now, as the tricep concentrically contracts, the bicep is going to eccentrically contract and be put on stretch. So where the bicep was concentrically contracting before and folding, as it's flexing the elbow, as the tricep does work now and concentrically contracts, it's going to put that bicep on stretch. And instead of there being folds on the tape or the bicep muscle, you're going to actually see more of a stretch of it. So now when I extend the tricep, you'll see the bicep muscle or the tape actually will look like it's being stretched out. Now, this weight is light enough for me to pull the load, even in extensions. Heavier in extension, harder for me in extension than it is with flexion, but I can still pull the load.